Today on Camera Legend, we'll be looking at a wide-angle legend. We'll be taking it outdoors and into the streets for our very first shots on film and on digital. We'll be analyzing the results and we're going to find out if it's for you. All coming up right now. Back today. CameraLegend.com. What is going down, you awesome and vicious camera geeks? It is Sam from CameraLegend.com, and we are back today. And today I got a special treat for you guys. Now, do you guys remember in the last episode when I said, don't forget to subscribe because there are plenty of surprises coming your way? Well, I kid you not, because today I got something that might surprise you, because it surprises me. Alright, so today we are looking at an ultra wide legend, and it is the Contax G1 with the 16mm f8 Carl Zeiss Hologon. Alright, so this is a surprise to me because it is a lens that I never expected to buy. Alright, first of all, 16mm and f8 doesn't usually suit my style. Secondly, it's usually very expensive. Usually goes from like 1,000 to 1,200, something like that. So in the world of lenses, it's not ultra expensive, but it is expensive for the kind of lenses that I usually buy. But I got this one only because it was actually half price, and I've never seen that before. Alright, so don't forget, one of the most important catchphrases that you'll ever hear on CameraLegend.com, and if you know it, repeat it with me, okay? While you see a chance, take it. I've used this camera probably since the early 2000s, but the star of the show today really is the 16mm f8 Carl Zeiss Hologon. So let's take a closer look at this sexy little lens. The Carl Zeiss 16mm f8 Hologon, as well as the Contax G1, were introduced in 1994 and manufactured by Kyocera. The Hologon design was inspired by the original Hologon, which was the Contax ultra-wide Hologon, which was a 15mm f8 lens that was fixed to a Contax body. The 16mm Hologon has a fixed aperture of f8, and on the Contax G film bodies, it relies upon scale focusing, which are indicated by markers on the lens. Alright, so because you guys are the best, most educated geeks on YouTube, I'm taking this lens off so I can show you the sexiness of this legendary lens. Now look like some little dust flecks right there. Well, you can't help that. But take a look at this lens. You know, it's beautiful. Beautiful and at the same time vulnerable, you know, with those optical elements hanging out right there. All right. But I've handled quite a few lenses in my time, but none can really match the sexiness of this little lens. All right, you guys. So in this segment, we're going to be taking a look at some photos shot with the Contax G1 and the 16mm Hologon. The film is Tri-X and the developer is Xtal. Now keep in mind, this is my first attempt at using this lens on film, so they're not going to be the greatest Hologon photos ever, but at least they may give you an idea of what to expect should you be looking for this lens, okay? So first things first is that this lens is actually very wide, but my first impression is that just like a lot of other wide angles that I have used before, it did not give the impression of being all that wide, but that is really a matter of perspective. For example, right here I'm standing on Mott Street and I'm basically across the street, all right? And so if you know anything about these streets, they're very narrow one-way streets, so actually to get this much of the buildings in this photo is actually quite impressive. Now if you look at the photo, it looks a little crooked, and maybe if I use the bubble level inside the finder a little bit more precisely, that might have helped. But in this case, I really think that that was probably due to me not being quite level with the scene. Same as in this picture right here. So in this photo, I'm standing right outside the building, and as you can see how much it actually got in this lens, how much this lens actually got into this picture. But at the same time, I'm not at the center, I'm like a little bit off to the side. And so if you look on the right side, it actually looks like the building is falling downwards. So once again, this lens really demands that you be very careful with the composition. So right here, this is the same building, and I move back a little bit into the parking lot, and now you can see the building looks straight and it looks wide. And in fact, if you looked on the left hand, bottom left hand, you can see my camera strap. So once again, you got to be very careful with your compositions with this ultra wide lens. Here at Washington Square Park, there's actually a lot of people here today. All right, so here I'm in the city, Washington Square Park, trying to get some photos for you guys. And you check this out right here. Here's a shot taken with the 16mm Hologon in the same location where you just saw that video. And the iPhone couldn't even get everything in, but this lens got almost everything in. So it is really wide, and what I like about it is you can basically stand really close to your subject and just get them all in right there. All right, so this was around March, I guess. And yeah, as you can see, there was some life coming back to New York City, and this is even before now, so things are getting a little bit better, guys. But at the same time, I'm not sure if I'm liking it, man, because too much crime going on right now. Anyway, all right, so we're back in Washington Square Park and capture the scene right here. Once again, just a test shot for you guys. And in this shot, I believe I used the 4x gradation filter, which helps to bring the lens to approximately f/16 as far as light gathering power. It also helps to reduce the vignetting that this lens is known for, but it doesn't eliminate all of it, okay? So walking through the park right here, I like Washington Square Park, man. You can get a lot of stuff, a lot of pictures down there, but you know, it's almost like you get all your prey in one spot. All right, so in this shot right here, I do apologize for the overexposure. This is a good example of me having to learn this lens, because I guess I didn't use a fast enough shutter speed. I'm used to fast lenses and low light, and so I should have really bumped up the shutter speed on this one right here, or maybe even use the gradation filter, but I didn't use the gradation filter on that shot. All right, so lastly, this is probably my favorite shot of the whole roll, and it's probably kind of like my Cartier-Bresson moment. But honestly, guys, this is a lens that is not easy to master, and I haven't mastered it yet, but I feel like I'm gonna have a lot of fun trying.
Hello, my friend, to another boring show, my friend.
All right, you awesome war-torn camera geeks. Well, this wasn't supposed to be part of the original video, but I took a little extra time to upload some quick samples shot with a Sony A7S so that you can see what it looks like on digital. Now, honestly, video is not the perfect format to showcase this lens, but just for example, here is a shot inside of a restaurant, and notice how much it got in. And this picture right here was taken with an iPhone X, just for comparison, and you see how much more you got in with the 16mm Hologon. Here's another comparison using a quick street snap. Note how wide the Hologon is, especially when compared to something like the iPhone X, which has a 28mm lens, which to some people is already considered a wide angle lens. Last comparison here. Here's one from the 16mm Zeiss Hologon, and here again is the iPhone X. Now, as I said, this video format is not the best way to show these images. Actually, the iPhone X is a little wider than that, but Definitely not as wide as the Hologon, and I took these images from the same spot. So I'll have more accurate comparisons up on cameralegend.com, so look out for that. Alright, well, according to the Zeiss brochure, the 16mm Hologon is virtually distortion free. But as you can see in this photo, sometimes if you look on the side, on the edges, you'll get something that looks like, right here, looks like trees about to fall, things like that. Or if you take pictures of buildings, you may see something like that. And that's just properties of ultra wide that you simply cannot escape. And this is not a tilt shift lens, but maybe you can correct it via software, but I haven't tried. But yes, this lens is technically very, very low distortion for a lens this wide. Now, one thing I did notice, especially on digital, was that the vignetting was a lot more pronounced, and you usually see it on the corners, and so it's definitely more pronounced or more distracting on digital. You'll also get sometimes a lot of funky color shifts on digital. Just keep in mind that this lens was made pre-digital era, so it was not really meant for digital, so it's kind of like a bonus that we can actually get the pleasure of using such a legendary lens on digital. One other thing I found was that focusing this lens using the scale focus indicators was actually quite easy, especially for objects far away or at infinity. But for objects closer, it's actually quite a bit more difficult than I anticipated, even on digital. But as you can see here, once you get the focus down, the sharpness is there. And the mushiness that you see in this photo is pretty much from Sony's noise reduction on the A7S II. As I said before, it's going to take some time for me to master this lens. But I have a feeling it's going to be fun trying to tame this ultra-wide legend. So now back to our original question. Is this lens for you? As I said, only you can answer this question, but I'll go out on a limb and say that for most people, the answer would probably be no. Now, you may lust after this lens like you lust after every other lens, but for most people, the answer is probably going to be no. But if you really want this lens, re-examine the images that I've posted here and go and check out the additional images that I've posted on cameralegend.com. And if you think you are that special person for whom this lens was made for, then I can guarantee you, my awesome friend, that you will love this lens and that you cannot go wrong with the legend. Alright, so thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to give the video a thumbs up, like, subscribe, hit the notification button for more camera legends, and there are plenty more camera legends coming your way. Alright, so I will catch you guys next time on the cameralegend.com, and let's put this gradation filter on because you guys deserve to be shot with a 4x gradation filter. And I will catch you guys next time on the cameralegend.com YouTube channel.
cameralegend.com